What's up, YouTube? It's Mr.BuyTheDip back here with another video. I want to talk to you about an AMD. What do I mean by holding for one more month? Let's make this video quick, simple, and short. Okay, I want to touch some things and talk about some things that you guys may not understand. And one of my videos are, doing really good right now. And the comments is literally going crazy saying, oh, automated money destroyer, AMD's done, you're misguiding people, blah, blah, blah. Listen. Here's what I mean by holding AMD for one more month. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to end this stock with profit, and I almost guarantee that, right? Now, first things first, let's talk about ending on profit. When I say hold for one more month, I want this stock to kind of build resistance and support level, okay? If you see this, a yearly graph, you'd be like, okay, March 211, okay, that's probably resistance, right? Oh, 146, that's support. That's a big drop. Okay, whatever. You see this, 181, you're like, okay, another breakout is going to come soon, right? And then you see this big drop right here to 134. So everybody who got in the stock around here, okay, that's not a bad move. This is called a dip, okay? Stocks can recover from down 13%, down 10%, right, in a matter of 5 to 6 months, okay? But when we get to a point where the stock just goes down and down, they build this little, I don't know what type of pattern. It may look like a W, right? But it's a false breakout, and we just see the stock down and down and down. Now it's at 107, okay? And I believe it's going to go even lower to 100, but I don't care, right? Because I'm going to have this investment that I'm going to have, I'm going to have another thing like NVIDIA, right? Now I'm going to understand NVIDIA is going to be something I can hold for another 4 or 5 months. Okay, AMD, I'm going to hold for one more month so I can build resistance and support, and I can understand what level can the stock rebound on. I understand the company's bringing in good profit, but it's not attracting buyers. What makes a stock go up? Buyers. Okay, now, grow your money or get paid in dividends while it's on down days. Okay, I am on CashApp. I want you guys to realize I'm investing on CashApp. I've been posting every single video about my investment journey on CashApp. The only way I can make money is through dividends and is if a stock goes up. So if my stock is down because of earnings 4%, and recently it was down another 2.6, another 3% because of DeepSeek, right? This is a bad sign. So if you're in AMD around 150, 140, I want you to realize something. So if AMD recovers from the quote-unquote bad earnings, because their earnings weren't bad, okay? Any analyst, any person with the good mind and their right senses would say AMD did not have super bad earnings. They had decent earnings. They just struggled in data centers, okay? Now, if you see this drop, okay, this is specifically because their earnings, people say they wet the bed, okay? They still can't keep up with AI, which I understand, okay? Now, let's say they regain that and they end on 119. They would still need another push back up to 122. Those $4 to $5 are very key because that another push kind of makes up for DeepSeek AI. When the DeepSeek AI news came out, right, this push is going to make up for that. So what are you really thinking when you invest in AMD? Are you in just for a month, 2 month, 3 month? Do you want to just break even at this point? Me personally, I have a fairly low average cost per share, and I'm jealous of you if you're under $120. I'm not adding any more money into the stock, right? But what I will do is I will sell above 125, 130, right? And I want to take that money and go into a safer investment that actually pays me dividends. If you're on Cash App, you cannot do puts and options. You can do options, which is calls and puts. You cannot do that on Cash App. If you don't know what that is, it's basically where you call up strike price for a stock and you believe it's going to go up or down, and you get paid based on how many contracts you get. Okay, so let's move on and analyze AMD's charts. After analyzing, I came down with some conclusions. They struggled to break 130. Okay, luckily, if you get in around the time I called AMD, you have a low average cost per share. If you're under 130, no worries. Okay, I see another push back up to 130 in about a month. Okay, now first things first, I want you to realize 0% dividend yield. Okay, and a point where AMD kind of, was really giving me hope was start of 2025 when we see 129. I was on profit right here. I did not sell because my goal is 150, 160. 150, 160 might take 8 to 10 months. might take 10 to 15 months, might take more. Okay, now during that time, if you want to keep your money seated and not gain any dividends on it, okay, that's fine. But if you can do options while your money is sitting in your account and make money off that, well, good for you. I can't, right? Because this investment is on Cash App. Now, so what am I going to do? Well, I want to sell around 129, 130, and that can happen in a month. And if it doesn't happen in a month, I can get resistance/support. Resistance mean what point does a stock needs to break? Right now, the stock needs to break 115, that 115, 117 mark. Because if we break that mark, we start going over to, we started going over to where we were prior to earnings, which is a good sign, okay? Now, hold AMD if you don't care. If you have no emotions and you're a brain-dead human, right, just hold AMD, okay? And with my $170, I mean, I would do that, hold it for another year, two, whatever, okay? Or break even, get some profit, and go to a safer investment, get dividends on it, do whatever you want to do. But if you see strong financials of a company, forget the charts and just hold. Look at Walmart, look at Costco, right? Their way of pulling in money and their revenue and just pulling in profit, every year is so great that if you just buy and don't even look at prices when you get into some of these long-term investments, making a move of just few dollars and being quote unquote buying the dip is not going to do nothing for you. If you're a long-term investor, yeah, it's going to make you another 100, 200 here and there. But I want you guys to realize, if you're long on AMD, buy it and just hold, okay? But only keep a certain amount holding while you grow your ETF, okay? And other investments. Now, what would I do? Me personally, if I have $6,000, okay, I'm taking $2,000, I'm putting it into my ETFs. This is a 10 plus year hold, okay? I'm gonna get into the QQM. I'm gonna get into the S&P 500, for example. I still have the S&P 500 on here, but on Cash App, this is not a Roth IRA. So I'm gonna hold this till 2030, right? And I might sell at, I don't know, 20, 30, $40 gain, whatever. I don't care. But I'm showing you guys the discipline of growing your money at a very young age. Okay? Now, let's go back to AMD, and here's what I'll do. I'll take 2,000, I would put it in NVIDIA from 125 to 145. I'll try to get a 16% increase, okay, of $320 profit on my money. This is very possible 3 to 4 months with NVIDIA. Remember, 3 to 4 months is a very small time for a 16% profit. Now, is that possible with NVIDIA? Yes. Look back at 2024. Look back at some of these times where the stock runs up. When it runs up, when it gets going, it gets going. And these breakouts are not false breakouts with NVIDIA. Okay. Now, no bank is paying you this much. I want you guys to realize, if you get 16%, back in 3 months, no bank is paying you this much. So your $2,000, while it's going to sit in the bank for 2 months and 3 months and not make as much money, right? You can put that into a stock, which is more riskier, but more return back. The initial goal is always 100K. Get that 100K, be a millionaire. Okay? But these small moves right here is what's going to lead to me. It's going to make me grow my portfolio, grow my wealth. Now, I would take 600. I'll put it in Walmart below 100 for 2 years. I would take 400 Shell, 4.0 dividend yield. Hold this for 2 years as well. Okay. Another fair midterm investment. I don't like to hold individual stocks for too long. Unless it's a stock like Apple, unless it's a stock like Microsoft. Okay. I'm not holding it for more than 5 years. As simple as that. Now, since I'm younger, I can be done with my money. 1,000 in crypto, XRP, Doge, Shiba. I'm trying to flip these. But this is money basically I'm going to think of, I already lost $1,000. Get your emotions out of the way, first of all, okay? Now, I've given you guys these examples. Let's move down to Apple, okay? I researched and I looked at Apple. One of their lowest points was in 2000, 2002, okay? During the early 2000s, Apple faced difficulties under leadership, quote-unquote, Intel. I talked about Intel as well, okay? I said it was not the best investment, right? Told you guys to weigh if you have a bigger risk to risk to, you're dealing with a big margin of risk, and you can put up $3, $4, $5,000 and not care about it, right? Then invest in Intel. But again, Intel 1.31% dividend yield, so you are getting a little bit of money here and there quarterly, maybe. Okay, now Intel, bad with CEO change, and we see how this affects the stock when it was down almost 60%. I've talked about this in a recent video. Starting the year off not so bad, right? And then it's just this right here. This will take a long time to recover. As you guys see, 19.83, 19.29. The stock basically hasn't recovered since then. We see this little push up to 26, but that's it. Okay, so I compared Apple to Intel back in 2000, right? Apple hit lows of $1 to $2 per share. Now that is, they probably just split at $200, whatever. But I want you guys to realize, which was a far cry from its layer of growth. Compare this to AMD. I'm not saying AMD is going to be as big as Apple, but just realize that these tech stocks can have downtimes where you are praying for a push back up, but it might take a year, might take 2 years, might take 3 years. If you sell right now in a loss, you may be missing out on money in future. Okay, if you have $10,000 you've lost right now, you're gonna make that $10,000 back in a year. Trust me. Leave that in there, right? And watch the stock grow. But a month is gonna give you resistance and support levels, maybe, hopefully, right? That's what I mean by holding the stock for a month. Okay, they can either bounce back and be as big as Google or Apple, or they can be as low as washed Nokia. If you guys look at Nokia, right? I mean, who has a Nokia phone these days? I mean, let's just look at the stock though, okay? Yearly up 32%, right? But they're not as competitive, and you would think that Nokia is not as successful and stuff like that. But I want you guys to see some of their peak times was 2000s, right? And and you just see how the stock plummets after that. Obviously, the stock can have a big up move from a month to a year. A lot of people are day trading this probably, right? This big push was probably after their earnings. You don't know, right? But what I mean by Nokia is as in, day to day, you don't see a lot of people with a Nokia phone. Okay, you've seen somebody with the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and it's like, trends and technology. If technology gets left behind, it's going to be very hard to recover. So if AMD gets left behind in the AI race, it's going to be very hard to recover, and it may not recover ever. But that is why I am selling at 130, 128, and I'm going to go long on NVIDIA, probably sell NVIDIA even in a few weeks here and there, so I can get some profit and make up for some of these losses. Thank you guys for watching. Another video dropping tomorrow. Thank you for liking, subscribing, keep commenting, keep giving me feedback. I kind of like to argue with people who don't believe in AMD at all. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe.